Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to talk about something really practical. How we describe our daily habits, our routines in English. Think of this as, well, your guide to talking about your day, morning to night, using really simple, clear language.
Exactly. Yeah, we've got some great examples here that show how to explain your typical day in, easy to understand English. Our goal really is to help you not just learn the phrases, but actually feel comfortable using them yourself in conversation.
That's right. We'll look at the usual rhythm of a day, morning, the work or study part, and then the evening. So if you've ever wanted to just easily share what your day looks like, well, this deep dive is definitely for you.
Should be helpful.
Okay, let's dive in, starting with the first part of the day. The morning. When you think about mornings, what comes to mind first?
Well, waking up, obviously, that's the very first thing. You might say, I usually wake up around 7 a.m., something like that. It's simple, direct, a good place to start. What happens right after that for most people, usually?
For me, definitely getting out of bed. And, some people like to stretch a bit just to wake the body up. You could say, I get out of bed and stretch before I do anything else. It's kind of a nice way to ease into the day.
That makes sense. And a really common habit, lots of people have it, is making the bed. The phrase is pretty straightforward. I make my bed as soon as I get out of bed.
Yeah.
It's quick, makes the room feel, instantly tidier.
It's funny, isn't it, how a small thing like that can sort of set the tone. So, okay, after waking up, maybe making the bed. What's next? What's typical?
Personal care usually follows, things like brushing your teeth, washing your face. You can just say, I brush my teeth and wash my face. Very simple.
And then I guess a lot of people take a shower to feel refreshed. A common way to say it is, I take a shower to freshen up. It definitely wakes you up properly.
It does.
What about hair? Getting your hair ready.
Right. For that, you could say, I comb my hair, or if you spend a bit more time, maybe I style my hair. Just everyday things we do, right?
Okay, let's try putting a few of these together. Like, imagine someone describing their morning. Maybe. After waking up, the first thing I do is brush my teeth and wash my face. Then I take a quick shower to help me feel awake, see how that flows. Just simple actions listed out.
Exactly. It's like telling a little story, the start of your day. So what's after getting ready? For many people, it's got to be breakfast.
Absolutely, breakfast time. You might say, I usually have breakfast around 8 a.m. Giving a general time helps.
Yeah.
And what are some, typical breakfast things?
Well, a very common one, especially if you're busy, is just a cup of coffee and some toast. Quick and easy.
Right. But what if you really don't have much time? Like you're rushing.
Okay. In that case, you might say, if I'm in a hurry, I make a smoothie. Super fast way to get some energy.
Good one. So putting that bit together, someone might say, I usually have breakfast around 8 a.m. I like a cup of coffee and toast with butter. But if I don't have much time, I'll just make a quick smoothie.
That paints a pretty clear picture, doesn't it, of a morning routine?
It does. Very clear.
Okay, now let's think about what happens, during the day, when you're working or maybe studying. How do we talk about starting that part?
Right, the start of the workday or study time, it often involves getting settled in. You might say, I start work at 9 a.m., or perhaps I log into my computer to start studying. And checking emails first thing, super common.
Oh, definitely. So you could say the first thing I do when I start working is check my emails. What about people with meetings or like online classes?
Yeah, they might say, I attend my morning meetings or I join my online classes. These are, key schedule points for lots of people.
Okay, let's combine a few. Someone could describe their morning start like this. I start work at 9 a.m. First thing, I log in and check my emails. Then I usually join my morning team meeting. That gives a pretty good sense of how their workday kicks off.
Yeah, it does. So what about the middle of the day? What happens then? Well, people usually need breaks, right? During work or study.
Absolutely. You might hear someone say, I take a short break around 11 a.m. Important to step away for a bit. And of course, lunch.
Lunchtime, yes.
Yes.
A common phrase is just, I have lunch at 12 p.m. or noon.
Right. And what are the main activities during this chunk of the day?
Depends what you do, I suppose. You might say, I work on my projects, if it's a job.
Or I study for my exams, if you're a student. These are sort of the core tasks.
Makes sense. So someone describing their day could say, I usually take a short break around 11, then I have lunch at noon. After lunch, I focus on working on my projects until the afternoon. Sounds like a pretty standard work day or study day.
Yeah, pretty typical.
Well,
Now, how does the day usually wrap up? Finishing work or study?
okay, the end of the day. Often involves, well, wrapping things up. You can say, I finish work at 5 p.m. or I finish studying for the day.
And sometimes people prepare for the next day a little.
Right. Some people might say, I review my tasks for the next day before I finish. It helps them feel organized, I guess.
That's a good habit. And finally, maybe something like, I log off my computer and clean up my workspace. Sort of a signal that the workday is truly over.
Yeah, both mentally and physically ending it. So a full description could be, at the end of the day, I finish work at 5 p.m., quickly review what I need to do tomorrow, and then I log off.
Okay.
So we've made it through the workday or study day. Let's move on to the evening. Often a time for relaxing, right?
Definitely. Evenings often kick off with dinner. A typical time might be around 7 p.m., so you could say, I have dinner around 7 p.m., and after eating, yeah, lots of people like to relax.
How do people usually relax? What are some common ways?
Watching TV is huge, or reading a book.
Yeah.
Very popular. You could say after dinner, I usually watch TV or read a book to unwind.
Unwind. Nice word.
Yeah.
And connecting with people. That's often an evening thing, too.
Oh, for sure. Like calling friends or just chatting with family. You might say, sometimes in the evening, I call my friends for a chat, or I spend time talking with my family.
So putting that together, someone might describe their evening like, in the evening, I have dinner around 7 p.m., and then I like to relax by watching TV or reading a good book.
Sounds nice and calm. But what about people who are a bit more active in the evenings?
Good point. Exercise. Some people use the evening for that. You might hear, after work, I often go for a walk. Or maybe sometimes I hit the gym in the evening.
Right. And hobbies, too. Evening can be prime hobby time. You could say, in my free time in the evening, I enjoy playing the guitar. Or maybe, I like to draw in the evening to relax. Whatever you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. So someone might say, after dinner, I sometimes go for a walk. Or if I'm feeling creative, I'll play the guitar for a while.
Nice. Okay, so the evening is winding down. What's the sort of final stage before actually going to sleep?
Getting ready for bed, right? That's next. And it often includes repeating some morning things, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I brush my teeth and wash my face again before bed. Back to basics.
And getting ready for the next day is key too. Lots of people say, I set my alarm for the next morning before I go to sleep. Just a small preparation.
Definitely helps the next morning run smoother. And finally, bedtime itself. A common time might be around 10 p.m., so you could just say, I usually go to bed around 10 p.m.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
And a full example of that final routine could be, before going to bed, I brush my teeth, wash my face, and make sure my alarm is set for the morning.
Got it.
So wow, we've walked through a whole day, from waking up right through to going back to sleep. Now, how can you, the listener, really get comfortable using these phrases?
Well, the best way really is practice. Putting them together to describe your own routine. Think about your morning, your day, your evening, and try using these simple English phrases.
Exactly. And just to give you a really clear idea of how it all fits, here's an example of someone describing their whole day, start to finish. In the morning, I wake up at 7 a.m., brush my teeth, and have a quick cup of coffee. I start work at 9 a.m., usually take a short break around 11, and finish my main task by 5 p.m.
Okay. In the evening, I have dinner around 7 p.m., go for a short walk to relax, and then go to bed around 10 p.m. See? Simple sentences, clear picture.
That's right. And you can see, talking about your daily habits, it's a really effective way to practice using common English words and sentence structures, things you can use in lots of other situations too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we really encourage you to try using these phrases. Talk about your own day. Even just thinking through your routine in English in your head. That's great practice for building confidence and fluency.
Remember, learning any language takes time, takes practice. And describing your daily routine is just a fantastic, really practical way to get that practice in regularly. We really hope this deep dive has given you some useful tools.
Definitely. And on that thought, maybe consider this. How putting your daily routine into simple words, describing it, can actually make you more aware of your own habits. And maybe even how language itself helps us structure, how we understand time in our own lives. Just something to think about.
Interesting point.
Until our next deep dive.